Hello and welcome to another Spectrum Geeks video. My name is Dale. I've done it. I've completed and passed the PPL ground school exam Principles of Flight, 83%, which means I've got 2 questions wrong. In this video I'm going to talk to you about my thoughts on the Principles of Flight PPL ground school exam, take you through again my process of learning and revising for the exams, and then just cover up what's left on my journey of getting my private pilot's license here in the UK. So thanks for joining me on my PPL journey to get my private pilot's license here in the UK with the Civil Aviation Authority. If you don't subscribe to this channel already, please consider subscribing. Also consider checking out my other social media channels. Most preferably is Instagram, where I share what's happening in between videos. But yes, Principles of Flight, it is done. This was my last ground school exam that I need to do, so I'm completely done. If you're not aware, from when you start and take your first ground school exam, even if you don't pass it, it starts an 18-month timer, and I had to get all of my exams done by the end of May 2023. So Principles of Flight was the last one that I had to do, and I took that this week, and as I mentioned in the intro, I passed it with 83%. I was kind of 50-50 on if I was ready. For some reason, I'm not quite sure why, I've actually struggled a fair bit with this exam. I think I started to do a bit of revision back in, must have been October, before I moved house, and then was struggling to get back into the mojo of studying for ground school. But really deciding to pull my finger out now that I'm getting ready to do my kind of skills test and what have you in the future. So let me talk you through kind of the questions I got wrong, what I thought of the exam, and then remind you about the process that I take to do my kind of revision study process. So I got 2 questions wrong, and I think I mentioned this before. When you get your score, it tells you the couple of areas that you got wrong. It doesn't tell you the specific questions, but you can then look that up in the private pilot license examinations piece. So the first area I got wrong was 081.02.01.03, and that relates to coefficients. So 01, I think it's 0, is it coefficients? 08. 0802, 0103. No, actually, that was pressure distribution. So this relates to the 2 dimensions of airflow over the aerofoil. So I'm not quite sure why I got that one wrong. I do remember there being a question about, wind flow disturbance on the upper and lower parts of the wing, and then, when you're deploying flaps, what happens and everything. So I clearly got that one wrong. Not quite sure why. That's not something that I would have said was a normal issue or concern into the study so far. And the second question was 081.07, so 07, which is related to stalling, 0102, and that relates to stall speed. So again, I think I know what I probably got wrong on this one. There is a piece, and this relates to one of the biggest issues I had, and maybe it's an issue just with basic math. So there is a calculation you do for stalling speeds based on the speed that you're going, your altitude and everything, and it means that you take a certain number divided by the cosine or cosine, so COSINE, of the either the speed you're going or the angle or something, and you have to take the square root of something. And I think I'm okay. Basic maths, good. Economy, I can't get my words out. Finance related maths is all good. Just really struggled to get my head around this one. But to be fair, I think it was Nigel Wilson from the Easy PPL Ground School. He did exchange various emails with me to help me understand this, but I guess it just didn't stick in my brain. So when I came to do the questions, I clearly got that one wrong. So that links in to again how I study, what my study process is, and then we'll kind of link into what I think about the exam as well. So as mentioned many times before, I still recommend it. Easy PPL Ground School. There's a link in the description. You can put my name in there as a referrer. That'd be great. I don't think anyone's ever referred me before, so maybe you'll be the first one. But that is where I basically concentrate all my time to go through all their great presentation slides to cover the detail of what the subject matter is. Go through their little tests as you go through those PowerPoint materials, and then at the end I basically just hammer the kind of full final test. Just keep doing that multiple times and taking my notes. I used to use some of the Pooley's books. I bought some old ones when I first started my kind of private pilot license journey over a year ago, and this is the old aeroplane technical manual. And again, I don't normally use this, but because I've been traveling and moving home, I had been taking this with me and having a little read through because it was easier on the plane. Didn't have internet access to access Easy PPL. But yeah, I really recommend Easy PPL. And let me just give you my stats on how much time I spent revising for this particular exam, and then talk to you about my notes and how I kind of put those together in the hope that that might help you if you're trying to do your exam as well. So I think the main reason I found this one difficult is just so many kind of formulas and references that may not necessarily always stick in my head. So let's just get the study statistics up. And when I talk about the things that you know, don't always stick in my head, so you got VNE, which relates to red line, VFE, which relates to maximum speed on full flap, VNO, just things like this. You know, I can remember the fact that something relates to never exceeding a max limit, but I can't necessarily remember it's VNE or something. So a little bit annoying. So let's see. So in terms of my study time, so principles of flight, I actually spent, not as long as I thought actually, even though maybe that's why it was a bit difficult. I should have spent more time. Spent 5 hours, 33 minutes and 55 seconds doing the online study, going through all the course slides and everything. And then I spent 4 hours and 33 minutes doing the tests and exams. So I spent a total of 10 hours and 7 minutes doing the exam stuff and then putting my notes together and kind of retesting. So that's actually not my lowest, but it's up there with some of the higher ones. But as I mentioned, what I do is after I've gone through those course material, I go to the final exams and just keep on re-sitting them. Obviously, with the exams now in the UK, it's multiple choice, but there's a massive bank because it's all digital now. It's not on a piece of paper. So I think one of the criticisms in the past was that people just learn the paper bank, and then as opposed to kind of gaining a massive knowledge of what they're doing. So what I do is I obviously go through all the material, take an exam, and then see what answers I got right, what answers I got wrong. And then the stuff I got wrong, I make notes of it on these little cards, and then I keep these cards in my sun visor in the car, so when I'm sat doing a school run or anything, I can just get one out and start reading through them. And so I used both sides just like this, and I had 5 altogether with hardly anything on the back. So I just make a note basically of what I got wrong and then what the answer was, and then you click on the bottom in Easy PPL and there's a little explanation piece that gives you a bit more clarity on kind of why the answer is the answer, as opposed to just saying, oh, the answer was B. You know, it builds you the knowledge, because for me that's what you want. Obviously you want to pass the exam, but you do want to build the knowledge. I do think a lot of the content in the exams may or may not be used again. I'm not too sure. One of the things that is good about Easy PPL, the language they use for the questions is very similar to what the CAA use, but the CAA do kind of change things around just a little bit. And if I flash it up on the screen so that you can see kind of the variance I had with the exams. Like I said, I wasn't necessarily going to take the exam this week. I just thought, well, I had some time, so I'd give it a punt, and if I got it wrong I could retake it. But actually what I found is normally the easy PPL questions are harder than the actual CAA ones, and I actually thought the CAA ones were harder than easy PPL this time. It may be just because they word things differently, but you can see here, first attempt I ever had at the final exam, I got 65%. Not that great, but better than the next one, which was 30%. Then I got 45, then 55, then 65, then dropped down again to 35. And that's kind of where then I was moving house and I was just started to read the book, because clearly I wasn't getting all the knowledge I needed. And then we're getting 85, 95, 85, 75, 80. So I thought, oh, we'll be good to go. And again, some of these things that I've made in my notes are sometimes very basic. It's just when I'm trying to get my head around everything, I'll sometimes get confused or what have you. So I'm going to show you on the screen the type of things that I'm doing in terms of the notes. And again, you can pause and read through them if that is of help. In the past, I've kind of just spoke about what I've written on there, but I don't think that necessarily helps people. You might not be able to read my terrible handwriting either, but it just gives you a rough idea of the kind of things that I was struggling with. And again, I think out of all the exams, this is the one that I made the most notes on. So clearly things that I was struggling with. And then just these last ones here. My hand in the right place might help you. And clearly I don't have a photographic memory, because if I did, learning would be easier. But what I found with this method is things do stick in my brain a little bit more. And when I see some of the questions, I think to myself, oh yeah, I remember now. There was something about that, and I wrote it at the top of the page. Now let me think, what did I write at the top of my little notes? And it will then slowly come back to me. But yeah, you get 35 minutes for the exam. And I took, I'll put up on the screen how many minutes I took. I did write it down somewhere, but it didn't I seemed like I was in there for a lot of the time, but maybe I wasn't. So that's it. I'll stop waffling. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Let me know if you've taken this exam and what you found of it. Next to me is hopefully this next week I'll have the third attempt at my mock exam for the skills test. Then I'm ready. Going to do the skills test, and then separately I will do my radio license. So we're getting really close. Been delayed constantly by weather and obviously time with work and everything, but I'm making progress. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done already. Until the next video, take care of yourself and goodbye for now.